Hello Year 9 students and parents. I'm delighted to introduce you to our video options presentation. It's short, it's to the point, and you all must watch right until the end. Let's think about last year. Your summer term of Year 8 was badly disrupted. Your end of Year 8 exams, you can see here, were cancelled. Our summer production, the fantastic musical Annie, and there was a student in this year group, Sina, who was cast in the lead role, was cancelled. Some of you will have had summer holidays that were cancelled. More recently, your options assemblies have been cancelled. They haven't been able to happen in person. So it has been tough, but your future is not cancelled. And actually, your options choices are a bridge into your future. After March the 8th, we're going to be back at school, and you can be confident if you participate fully in the testing program and you're conscientious about wearing masks and social distancing and hand washing. If you can do all of those things, we won't have more disruption with it, hopefully, and more closures in future. So we're moving into a brighter future, and GCSEs are symbolic of that. If you need a metaphor, the options process is a bridge to get you into the future. And in Year 10, you are going to pick certain subjects to specialise at, to focus on, and that's a motivating thing. But you need to make sure for the remainder of Year 9 you keep going with all of your subjects. I need to be very clear on that, and I'll tell you a few reasons why. Firstly, choices can change. You might think you're going to give up a subject next year, but then you might change your mind and decide to carry it on. Or, as a school, we might say we can't meet your first choice in terms of the 4 subjects you want to do, so we need to require you to do something else, at which point you're going to want to be in the strongest possible position. That is quite rare, but it can happen. Secondly, if this is the last term you're studying a subject, then you need to make it the best term, because even if you're not taking it forward next year, success in one specific subject will help you generally in all of your subjects. And thirdly, what kind of signal are you sending to your teachers and to your form tutors or to your director of learning and to me as the principal if you say, oh, I'm going to stop trying in X subject because I'm not carrying it on next year? Are you signaling to us that you are a motivated person, an organised person, or are you signaling to us that that is not the case? So best of luck with all of your subjects through to the end of Year 9. Make sure you get the best possible results in all of your end of Year 9 examinations, and that will set you up then for the specific choices that you make. I'm going to hand over to the brilliant Miss Jordan in a moment, who's going to talk you through the options booklet and the process by which you make your choices. But I want to give you my perspective as your head teacher on 4 different things. The first is history and geography GCSE. They are high value subjects, respected by sixth forms, respected by universities, and they need serious consideration from all of you. History teaches you to think critically and evaluate. It teaches you to form an argument and communicate powerfully. Geography teaches you to understand the world and how it survives and thrives and the challenges that we face as a planet. Last year, we had too many students in geography and too few students in history, which has never happened before. We think it was because the history assessments were changed in Year 9 and were made too hard, and that might have discouraged people, and during lockdown we couldn't address it. That's been fixed, but I want to be clear, just because you have 70% in history, let's say, and 80% in geography, that doesn't mean that you have to do geography GCSE instead of history, and the opposite would obviously be true. They are equally respected subjects, they have equal benefit, and they need to be considered certainly equally, and of course many of you will do both. Secondly, I want to talk about modern foreign languages. Lots of schools force Year 9 to take a language at GCSE. I'll just say that again. In many schools you would be required to choose a language, but KA doesn't. We encourage. But you need to think, why are so many schools forcing kids to do languages? And it's because languages are incredibly valuable. If you speak another language, that's going to make you a more confident global citizen. When you travel to a different country, whether or not that country happens to be France or Germany, where you'd have the GCSE, or somewhere else, you will be more confident. Learning one language makes you feel more comfortable about international travel in all countries and in all languages. And secondly, employers respect grade 4 or above GCSEs in language. It will make you more employable. It will make colleges and universities more interested in offering you a place. So give the language serious thought. And if you find language difficult because learning vocabulary is hard for you, that's not a reason to not do it. All of the best things in life are difficult, and successful people are people who can face difficulty and keep going. So really think, mums, dads, boys and girls, really think about picking French or German GCSE, and if you're not picking one of those GCSEs, you need to have a good reason, I think. Right, third point I want to make, performing and creative arts. We are lucky at Kensington Aldridge to have wonderful facilities and wonderful teaching in design technology, in music, in art, in drama, in dance. Why not pick one of those subjects? It's going to give variety and a richness to your curriculum. If you can dance, if you can play an instrument, if you are an excellent artist, that's going to make your life more joyful, you know, in the future. And if you have a lesson in the week where you're not just behind a desk, you know, with an exercise book, but you're doing something creative in that way, it's going to give a real balance and a real contrast. So really think about picking one or more of those subjects. And lastly, we have some new courses for you to consider, whether that be new GCSEs like psychology or more practical specialist subjects like construction, the built environment, or media, or the OCR sport qualification that we're offering. Don't dismiss these just because they're new. They will bring variety, like the PCA subjects, and for many learners, they will be a better way of learning because they have more of a focus on continuous assessment and coursework than on exams. I'm going to leave it there. Ultimately, Year 9, pick the courses that you think you will be best at and pick the courses that you think you will be most interested in, and make sure you take the time to read all of the information, watch all of the videos like this, and speak to your form tutor, your teachers, and your brilliant Director of Learning, Miss Armitage.
Good evening, Year 9 students and parents. So the next important step in your options journey is to look at the options booklet. So you can find your own copy of this attached to this email. So it's important that over the next few days, you take some time to read the booklet and use it to help you make your choices. At the front of the booklet, you'll find the options timeline, which you've seen before and are familiar with, but will give you a better idea about when the different parts of the process are happening. The next few pages of the booklet give you information about the different types of courses that are available for you in Year 10 and 11. It's important that you recognise before looking at the rest of the booklet that not all courses are GCSEs and not all courses are appropriate for everybody. There are some which are traditional academic GCSEs, and there are some more slightly vocational subjects or specialist subjects which only a small handful of students will do. So the subject pages are the next important part of the booklet. So these are really what you should spend most of your time looking at. These give you information about what each course is like, what each subject is like, and should help you decide whether this subject is right for you. As you read through these pages, I would suggest you ask yourself the following questions. So first of all, how is the course assessed? Is it assessed purely by exam at the end of Year 11, which the majority of GCSE courses are? Or is there some practical or internally assessed element or piece of coursework that's part of the subject? Secondly, I'd ask myself, what might this course lead me to do in the future? So whether the course will put you in a position to be able to take A-levels and go on to the sixth form or college, as well as careers that you might be thinking about doing in the future. Thirdly, I'd ask, what kind of things would you be studying on the course? So have a look at the course content and see if it interests you. And then lastly, are there any specialist entry requirements for this course? So do you need to have studied something particular beforehand, such as a musical instrument, for example, or be good at working in a particular kind of way for this subject? So these are the questions I would be asking myself as I look through the subject pages of the booklet. All of the subject pages should be considered in conjunction with the research that you've already been doing. So this means the options assemblies that you've been watching each week, as well as the personal reflections booklet you should have been filling in after watching each assembly. So this research is really, really important, as it helps you weigh up the different benefits of each subject and helps you decide which things are actually right for you and your style of working. If you've missed any of the options assemblies that have taken place already, then don't forget you can go back and access all of these, as well as other things, including the reflections booklet, through the KA Online Careers page. Or you can go back to the emails that Miss Armitage has been sending you and follow the links from there. Your final choices will need to be made by the 30th of April. So you'll be sent a Google form to complete, and you'll need to choose 2 subjects from Group A one subject from Group B and one subject from Group C. So although you have much more freedom to choose the options and the combinations of subjects that you want to do at KA than you might do if you were in another school, we still have to structure your choices in a certain way. This helps us make sure that the final set of GCSEs you do, or subjects that you do, are a really strong set that will allow you to go on and have lots of choice at the end of year 11. But also these groups are based, they're designed this way because they're based on what previous years students in previous years have chosen. So the combinations that have been most popular in the past. And knowing those most popular combinations helps us be able to structure the timetable and give you the choice that we think you're going to make. So if you really, really want to choose a combination of subjects that doesn't work in this model, please do indicate that on your Google form when you submit it. And we will then get back to you and talk to you about this and see if this option is possible. So to be clear, we can't guarantee that other combinations are possible, as it also depends on what other students choose, but we'll do our very best. Okay, so best of luck looking through the options booklet and in continuing your research. Please make sure that you speak to as many people as possible and get as much advice as you possibly can before you go ahead and make your final choices. Good luck.
Hello, Year 9. I am so looking forward to welcoming you back to school next week. It's perfect timing for you to be able to talk to your teachers and form tutors about your GCSE options in person before you make that final decision on the 30th of April. Over the next week, please think about questions you might want to ask your form tutors and teachers over the next month at school, such as, what are my strengths in your subject? Would this subject be useful for my future career or further studies aspirations? And what skills will this subject give me? Your PSHE lessons for the rest of this term will focus on your GCSE options and career aspirations, including an exciting workshop with a company called Johnson & Johnson. They are an international company who make many of the beauty products that you might recognise, and they have also developed one of the COVID vaccines. It will be such a privilege for you to think about your future and to explore your opportunities with such a well-recognised company. For now, the most important thing that you all need to focus on is making sure all your online lessons are completed so that you are up to date when you return and are able to show off all that you have learned in your spring assessments. As you know already, your spring assessments will be really important for helping you and your subject teachers to decide your options choices. So please put in the hard work now to give yourself the best chances of success. I hope you are all feeling positive about the return to school. However, this is going to be a really big transition for all of us, and it's completely natural that you are feeling a mixture of responses. Whether you are feeling happy, overwhelmed, relieved, excited, nervous, sad, or even all of these at once, that is okay. Year 9, you have always been a kind and resilient year group, and we will all support each other to have a successful move back to school. If you have any worries at all, please do get in touch with your tutor, your mentor, or myself so that we can help. Before next week, please make sure that your parents have completed the COVID testing consent form. This can be found in the email from Mr. Benson this week. Next week, please look out for an email that will confirm the exact day that Year 9 are returning and also your personal COVID testing slot. Please make sure you check that you've got all your equipment ready. You can find this list in your planner. And over this weekend, please make sure that your school uniform and school shoes still fit, and give yourself good time to order anything that you might need. As your Director of Learning, it makes me so proud to see all that you have achieved throughout this really challenging time, especially in the way that you have supported each other and made sure you've made the most of your education. I am so looking forward to seeing how you take on your decision of choosing your GCSE options with your thoughtful maturity and passion for learning. Myself and all your teachers can't wait to see you soon.